are back.
Welcome back.
Um, we're recording via Zoom for the second time ever because I leave on a work trip today for 8 days and we couldn't get this in because I was so busy and finished this book late.
And Ayesha likes to be in bed by like 10 p.m.
Bro, I was sleepy. Okay, so this is the last week of Star Champion of that's the book's name. The last week of Sci-Fi month, and this is Star Champion.
Great
Which
start.
is the book. God, what am I doing? This is the last book of Sci-Fi Month. So this book is also, so they're not like humans, but they're not like not humans.
They're like an off breed of human, I guess.
It
I don't
just,
know because Earth is was so like we've this is the what fourth book, third or fourth book,
yeah, fourth book in the series.
and basically it's like the beginning of like Earth coming part of like the intergalactic government.
Yeah, something like that. Uh, yeah, was very Star Wars-esque.
Yeah, I got that vibe too.
So, I mean, if that's your vibe, then like by all means, like this is it. Because yeah, it was very Star Wars-esque, which is interesting. So, oh yeah, I guess this is Aisha, one half of this podcast.
This is Lexi, the other half of the podcast, who is definitely eating cheesy tater tots right now.
I am not eating anything, although that makes me really hungry thinking about your tater tots.
You should probably eat before you leave.
I mean, I don't leave for
Just
the
saying.
airport for another like 5 hours, so it's not
Oh,
anytime
I
soon.
thought it was a 3 o'clock
No,
flight.
it's 7:30. My flight's at 10, so I've got some time. Um, okay, yeah. So we read Star Champion by Susan Grant.
So it definitely like it was released as a different name
Yeah,
though.
it
If you
was
looked on Goodreads.
it was called the Champion of Baresh. Baresh. Trying to think of the accent on this E, but I don't know if that means that we could look up that and see how many reviews that one has because this one doesn't have many reviews. Oh, oh no, it's about the same. Huh. Um, okay. So let's go tropes first. Sci-fi.
Obviously.
Um,
Teacher, student, coach.
coach, athlete. Okay, what do you consider masquerading as the opposite gender? Like, isn't that's a trope?
A
Not
Mulan trope.
okay. Yeah, yeah. We'll call it the Mulan trope. That's not a common trope in um. It's a very Asian um trope. Like a lot of
Yeah.
like Korean dramas, a lot of like anime have this like masquerading as the opposite sex as a thing. It's not like as much of a North American thing. Like this is have you read a book where they're masquerading as the opposite gender?
Yeah.
Besides this book?
Yeah. There's a entire Rena Kent trilogy. The
Oh, I didn't know that.
The
What
Blood of My
trilogy?
Monster,
Oh, wait.
which is a like the Mulan retelling.
I didn't realize that she was masquerading as a guy.
Yeah, well, you don't read Rena Kent, so like you don't know who the
I
character
haven't
is, but
I haven't read it, but it's on my list to read. Um, okay, we'll call it the Mulan. Um, yeah, coach athlete. Forbidden? I mean, I guess forbidden because it's coach athlete. And then class difference?
yeah.
This had very um this had very Ren and what's the Star Wars? What's the
Kylo,
Kylo vibes.
Raylo vibes.
Yeah, this had Raylo vibes, especially at the beginning, but like where he's less of an asshole overall.
Well, I mean, like we haven't read the other books. Apparently, he is an asshole.
Yeah, this is supposed to be his redemption arc. Which is interesting. Okay, any other tropes?
Bad dads.
But are they bad? Like her dad dies
Her
and
dad dies, but his dad sucks.
his dad he talks about it as if his dad sucks. Then the one meeting they have, his dad doesn't really suck that bad.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Trying to think of what other tropes this has. Would you consider this a road trip?
No.
Hmm. I think those are the really big ones. I mean, Grumpy, you wouldn't call her Grumpy Sunshine because she's not Sunshine, but he's grumpy.
Yeah.
Grumpy, grumpy. Um, Enemies to lovers? No, not really.
No.
Um, yeah, I feel like that's pretty much it. And this is,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to admit, this is a sci-fi.
Yeah.
I did good. I picked the
Sure.
right book for the theme. That counts for something.
Yes.
Okay, triggers. Death of a parent?
Yeah. Um,
I mean, he's on house arrest when you meet him for the first time.
yeah.
Bad uncle? I don't know.
I mean, like there's like underground street fighting, basically.
Yeah, although none of it's like,
Graphic? No.
yeah,
Until
because
he
it's,
gets the brother gets beat up a couple times.
yeah, I guess that's true. The brother does get like beat up, like intimidated by the like, I don't know, the owner of the club that they're supposed to be at. Trying to think what else. I would say that's the biggest one. Besides the like, I guess, blatant sexism that the league for the sport is like,
Yeah.
do you consider that a trigger though? I don't know. Okay. So Goodreads, this is a 4.11 and it has 689 ratings. Although this did win a Rita Award in the
What?
paranormal and the sci-fi categories, which is kind of random for 2017 because this is a 2016 book. I don't know how like how
I've
prestigious Rita
never
awards
heard.
are.
Yeah, I've never heard of that award, but
They're
okay.
romance awards, but I've heard they're really biased with like not people of color don't win them very often.
Shocker.
I know. Okay, so I'll read the back of the book and then we can get into characters. Previously published as the champion of Baresh, a lowborn woman willing to risk everything to save her family, a disgraced prince seeking redemption in the eyes of his king and people. Dreaming big on a dead-end world, Gem toils for a mining company by day, but at night she disguises herself as a male to compete in the violent underworld of the colony's fight clubs. Every win puts her one small step closer to escaping Baresh with her family. When a royal recruits her to be a star player for his team, her ruse proves to be her most perilous game yet. Prince Charming, he is not. Prince Clark is eager to reverse his reputation as the black sheep of his royal clan. If his Baja team can win the galactic title, it would go a long way toward restoring the family's honor that his misdeeds tarnished. He tracks down an amateur who has risen to the top of the seedy world of Street Baja, offering the commoner a chance of a lifetime. But his new player comes with a scandalous secret that turns his plans and his beliefs upside down. He sets out to win a very different prize, his champion's heart. Thoughts? I mean, accurate.
I mean, sure. I don't know if he like went out of his way to like win her heart.
Yeah, okay. I would agree with that. Because he's what, 27?
Yeah, she's
Like
20.
24?
Yeah.
She's like only a few years younger than he is, and like not a ton. And she has an older brother who seems older than Clark. Like
I
he's in
thought
his
younger.
30s.
No, I thought he was younger.
I think he's older, but I don't think he's older by much, maybe. Because I know his wife, obviously his wife died. Oh, I guess that's another trigger. Like death of a spouse and then like
No.
subsequent like
Also,
alcoholism. Because
he's also a bad dad.
he's also a bad dad. That is so true. Yeah, I would agree with that. Um, okay. So where do you want to start? Also, this was book 4 of a series of, I think it's a 7 book series, which kind of seems like a lot to me, but it's a book 4 of a series, and I wasn't confused.
Yeah, I wasn't very confused. I will say the beginning of this book was a lot of words. A lot of
I
words that
mean,
didn't get us much. And I understand that they're like,
like a world building has to
yeah, it's
happen.
world building, and I understand that you have to like, if you're assuming this is a standalone, you have to keep explaining things to the audience to be like, this is kind of how the world works. But also, I just found the first 40% because they don't meet until like what,
Yeah,
30% in?
that's kind of my complaint too, is that it seemed to go really slow and then all of a sudden it sped up because I kept being like, because you jump, it's dual POV, so you jump between her POV and his, but they're in totally different places. Like they're not even close
In
to
the same,
interacting for the
yeah,
first 30%. And then at 30% in, they finally have their kind of like first interaction. And then it's probably
yeah.
50% before she's even on the ship with
And
him training.
my whole problem with it is just like he literally didn't start being like attracted to her until she was like, by the way, I'm a girl, which is like, I like, I understand, but also like if we're doing the Mulan trope, the whole point is like they felt connected before he knew she was a girl.
Yes, it's the whole like, oh my God, am I
Am I
falling for a
gay?
guy? But it's actually just a
Or
woman.
they like figure it out like before, but like before that. But it was like
Yeah.
it literally like he realized she had tits and then he was like, "Oh, well maybe she's hot."
I mean, he was attracted to her as a girl in the beginning when he didn't realize the two people were one because
Yeah,
he sees her with the brother and the brother has to pretend that it's his girlfriend to like keep suspicion down. So,
cuz yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there's that, but yeah, it's it's not, it is kind of weird because also I just felt like the first like 40% of the book was really slow because you basically see her first match as a like street. I've been pronouncing it Baja, but maybe that's not right. Is that how you
I was
pronounce it in your
pronouncing
head?
it Baha, yeah.
Okay. I mean, for once we agree on pronunciation. And also, it's like fencing.
It sounds like the most boring sport. It sounds like such a like
Like there's no
rich person sport.
yes,
Like
there's
it's
no
like
stakes.
polo. Yeah.
because
It
you
would
can actually get, she does talk about how the sword itself, if it hits skin, it like burns. Like imagine like a lightsaber,
like yeah, I was
but
imagining them
then
as lightsabers. Yeah.
but then you're in a fencing suit, and the whole point is for the sword to hit the chest
And
plate.
you're not supposed to see. So like they don't see anything.
They're blindfolded.
So they're
You're supposed to use
blindfolded.
your sixth sense
Yeah, so it's
and
like you're supposed to use
intuition.
like the fucking force.
Yeah, to sense
And
people. See, that's what I mean. It's so Star Warsy.
it just sounds like a boring sport. Like, and
And
I understand that it could be interesting. Obviously, all these players are like good and they obviously like want to get the thing going, but like imagine two blindfolded people just like circling each other in a quiet, it's a quiet when they're not doing
yeah,
street Baja, which is like in a bar and
like a fight ring. Like you're
it's
literally
like
just,
Fight Club,
yes,
basically.
people are cheering and throwing shit and
Yeah. But like in the quote unquote
arenas.
real Baja is
Yes.
like they have like a helmet on that blocks all views
Yeah.
and they like it's silent.
They're in a dome. Like they're in a dome that cancels out light, sound, and they're just like, I just picture this like white flooring, white walls. Like imagine like a squash court where it's just all white and it's just two people in there and they just turn the lights off.
It just sounds like a boring sport.
It just
Like
was a little confusing. Like the not the sport itself was described well, but I didn't understand why it was so exciting. Also,
yeah.
can we talk about the fact? So his backstory is that he basically tried to him and his brother are like semi close, it sounds like. And he was trying to
Well,
like,
he's the spare, right?
yes, he's
So
trying to protect his brother from marrying someone who didn't love him or something, or was like,
no,
he
so
didn't like the bride, or
what I understood was obviously like we haven't read that book, so we don't know for sure. It
yeah.
sounded like Earth just opened up its like doors to this society in order to mingle the cultures. They had decided to marry off his brother to like a princess
Which is, I,
or
yeah,
something, and
something like
then
that.
she was really in love with somebody else. So then she broke off the engagement, but by breaking off the engagement, it like
Oh,
dishonored the royal
his
family.
family.
So he was like, I have to protect my brother's honor, and I'm gonna kill the dude that stole his fiance from him. But
Right.
then
But then, so
he
shit
ends
goes,
up, yeah, he ends up
and
like it just seems like a fucking like Transformer Pacific Rim style fight happened or like
yeah.
Superman style fight happened on like the cities of Chicago or something.
Yeah, it was
And
LA.
then
It was LA that they talk about the
he
streets of
got in
LA.
trouble for it because obviously like you're not supposed to fight in a civilian area.
And then, but then he and his brother ended up marrying another princess also from Earth.
Yeah.
Like they just ended up being like, okay, take this one then. Like it ended up
Yeah.
very anti. So then he ends
I
up on
think it
like
was like
house arrest.
the sister of the dude that stole his original fiance.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So it's like anyway, so it was like 2 years of house arrest, which honestly is like
It's actually a
but
fucking
then
lot.
he also broke that.
No. Oh
No,
yeah.
he broke that. He like escaped his house arrest and then he had to get punished again.
Oh yes, because he heard of his new sister-in-law was supposed to be assassinated, so he escaped to save her, to like try to bring back his
Oh, and that
like
happened on the planet that what's her name is
gem is
from?
from
Yeah.
Barash.
Yeah.
It all sounded very, honestly, that book I don't think I would have enjoyed. That sounds really weird. I like that this book takes place entirely on a whole new world and there's no like Earth. really involved. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not mingling Earth with other universes.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the world building. Like I understood and I could picture all of this in my head. To be fair, it does sound very Star Wars.
It sounds like a Tatooine. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was very, and maybe that's why I could picture it in my head because I was like, oh, this is basically Star Wars. But I just thought, like, what was weird was so they get on the ship. So he signs her and then realizes, then she comes clean and says, I'm a girl. And he's kind of pissed. But then he's like, actually, it's fine. And first off, so he thinks that by winning this championship, like, imagine the way I envisioned it was like winning like the Euro Cup or like the World Cup for soccer here.
I
And then
guess.
that
Because this
redeeming
is
himself in his family's eyes, that
well,
seemed far-fetched to me.
he's in charge of this team and each so it's like this it's like set up really weird in terms of like there are different kingdoms and families who run these kingdoms and they each have a team like their own country
Yeah,
and then the families are like the ones that run these teams,
right.
which just seems like the most biased system on the planet,
The
but
rich getting
okay.
richer.
It's just like Formula One. It's like Red Bull
Yeah,
sponsors a team and then, you know,
that is kind of what it sounded like. Yeah, that's a good example of like, yeah, just rich people doing rich things.
yeah,
I also like my confusion was like, so of all the things you could do to bring back your family's trust and honor, it's win a sporting
sports.
event. Like
That's such a man's idea,
I
you
wasn't
know?
quite sure how that related to this. Do you know what I
Because
mean?
apparently Baja is like a religion over there. Like it seems like the only fucking sport available in the entire galaxy. And then when people on
Yeah.
Earth are like, well, we like basketball and football, and they're like, that sounds stupid.
Yes, pretty
You
much.
you're walking around a silent dome with some light sticks, buddy. Like,
Yeah. It did. It was like that was the one thing that like the stakes just didn't feel. I was like, of all the things to like put the stakes on it, he was like, I have to bring honor to my family. And I'm like, I don't know if this is it. Like, I don't know if this is how you're gonna do that, buddy. Like, I realize that it's amazing to win a championship, but like, I'm not sure if you going to basically jail for 2 years is going to be like pushed
redeemed by a
aside.
World Cup. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was the thing where I was like, I don't think those things quite connect to the way you think they do.
It seems like such like man math. Like this is
Yes.
boy math.
Because like her stakes made sense because she is on a poor planet. She's like in a cycle of poverty and she's trying to get them off this planet because getting off the planet will in itself give them a choice to do like to do other things. Like they break the cycle of poverty. So it makes sense that her being like, I need this to work because I can break the cycle of poverty. Like I can bring a better life to my family and our like generations after by getting us off this planet. Those stakes made sense to me. His stakes just seemed very stupid, to
I
be
mean, and I
honest.
think in the grand scheme of things that was like the point was like he didn't understand why she needed it to work out because his stakes were like, well, my father thinks I'm a disappointment. And she's like, well, my
Oh.
dad is dead and my brother
Yeah.
can't work and my mom basically is almost at the age where she can't work. So
And she's sick.
I'm the only physical body in my family that can support us.
And
And
Button is like
is like
also,
4.
yeah, it sounds like preschool age.
Yeah. And they don't go to school. Like, they don't have school on this planet. So like
Yeah,
not
which
only
is
does
why
someone have
only
to
the
look
rich
after
do.
this, yeah, which is why like not only does someone have to look after stay home and look after this kid, but also it's like who's gonna teach this kid too? Because
Well, and that's why it's like this cycle of poverty is so like it's just a constant cycle of we're stuck here. We can't like get out of it. Like we're just constantly poor.
hmm
It yeah, it did seem I think her brother gets a book with
the doctor.
yeah, with the
I just did
doctor.
not like her brother at all.
I didn't either.
He seemed like such a fucking sleazeball.
Kind of, yeah. Maybe he
And
gets
I
redeemed.
I understand he went through trauma, but also I felt like he was taking advantage of her and she was just letting him take advantage of her. Like he was like, "Oh, we could do all these things. I could build a club. I could manage all these different athletes." And she's just like, "I'm just trying to put food on the fucking table. Maybe don't try to
He
spend all the
also
money I won."
he used her winnings to buy a club.
Yeah.
And I feel like that wasn't enough of a problem. Because for me, I was like, wait, what? And she was like, oh, okay, I guess. And I was like, no, no, girl, no. What do you mean? Okay, I guess. He
And then
basically took,
he kept like pissing off the other bar owners. So then they try to beat him up. And she's just like, "You have to stop." And he's like, "No, it's fine. It's fine."
well, and then that problem gets resolved because they
Clark
team up.
just beats,
I
no,
thought that
Clark
was,
just like beats the shit out of him and was like, "You cannot threaten her and her family." And then the guy was like, "Oh, okay, it's fine. It's fine."
well, and then they team up together at the end of the book. So the
Yeah.
club owner that beat the shit out of him and him, they now like are partners. And I was like, I feel like that didn't need to happen. Like that was something that didn't need to like be tied up in a bow. Do you know what I mean?
hmm
Like I
Yeah.
feel like she tried to like close all the loose ends, and I feel like that was one thing that didn't need to be like I didn't need that. Like that didn't add anything to this story.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. How did you like Clark? I don't know. I
I he seemed like such a like finance bro.
okay. Remember the book we read, The Rogue Not Taken by Sarah McLean,
Yeah.
where she was awesome and like such a kick ass, and he was just kind of like, meh. This is how I feel. Like it was like Jem, I was like, okay, I like her. She's like doing all this good shit. And he's just kind of like,
"I
meh.
don't want to be a disappointment to my father," which was
Yes.
also the plot of
Yes.
A Rogue Not
Yes.
Taken.
It's very, very similar vibes from a couple perspective. Like this is similar vibes. Yeah, I would, that's what I would say. It's very similar vibes. I, yeah, can't say that I liked Clark that much. I just feel like, yeah, he just like turned around really fast to be like, I am bringing honor to my family. Oh, you're not a boy? Oh, I think we should fuck. Like,
Yeah.
there was just like no progression. It was very strangely,
And I also like what I didn't like was how he tried to kind of keep her like
a
very
secret,
like not
isolated.
secret because I understand that like keeping her gender a secret is like the top priority because obviously like we saw how the league reacted when
Yeah.
they learned that she was female. But I felt that like he tried to compartmentalize like what he had with her and then the rest of reality.
Like his real life.
Yeah.
Like the part where she gets taken out with the team to like be a man, be a boy, and he's like whining and dining. And he didn't
Yeah.
mention to
And
her
then
that he was
he
going.
was just like, "I gotta go do some family business." And she's like, "What does that mean?" And he's like, "Don't even worry about it." And then the team comes and they're like, "Yeah,
He has
he's
some
whining and
dinner.
dining with some like rich people." And she's like, "Oh, well, fuck him."
Yeah. I don't know. I just not that I didn't I just I don't know. I this book felt like something I'd read before. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it felt very like this is something that I've read this plot before. Like it wasn't anything special, even though the whole like Mulan trope is new for us. Like I haven't read that many of that trope.
I read a couple.
So I don't know. Yeah, I can't say it was my fave trope. Kind of like how you're like, I don't know, I could go with it the Tarzan. I just feel like how they come about finding out she's a female and the relationship building before that matter. And I just feel like this was we done weird.
Yeah.
Where he was like, "Oh, you're a girl. I like you."
Yeah. I found you attractive.
Well, because before she was like it's supposed to be like a 17-year-old boy.
Yeah.
So like
He's
it's such
like,
a
wait a minute, you're a 24-year-old female?
yeah, and then he would be like, "Wow, look, I can see her body through the suit." And I'm like, "But can you?" Like
But
it's the same suit.
also, no, I mean, she used to have like a really baggy suit because she just wore her dad's
But
suit.
her new suit,
Yeah.
he used to comment and I was like, "But then the suit isn't that tight fitting because she has to be a boy everywhere else." So I was like, "This is weird."
Well, I assume she was like banding herself.
Probably.
Um, but I don't know. I felt like it was like a switch with him that like
Yeah, agreed. Because what was your least favorite part? Was it that?
I it's just like the whole like first 40% was just so much words. It was like a lot of words that like didn't give me much substance. And I understand that it was world building, but I also
Right.
like it just felt like it dragged the story too slow. Like the beginning pacing just dragged the story too slow for me. And then they
Yeah.
didn't meet until 30%. And then with that, it was like when they did meet, you weren't like, oh my God, they should end up together. It was like they're just two
People.
strangers.
Yeah. I agree there. Like I just felt like it should have started sooner because the author spent too much time in that first 30% like world building with them separate. She should have had more scenes with them like training together and building the relationship. Do you know what I mean? Maybe then I would
Yeah.
have bought in more. Yeah, I would say my least favorite part is the stakes where he was like, I'm gonna redeem myself to my family, bring honor to my clan by winning a World Cup. I was like, I am not quite sure how these connect. And I just felt like that was just the weirdest plot line for him to be like trugging along on. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As to why it mattered. Okay, what was your favorite part?
I like the scenes with like the two other players that he brings
Oh yeah.
and they're like little training montage and they're like, you know,
Yeah.
just hanging out, being bros. I thought those scenes were great.
This felt like it should have been written, like it'd been written to be made into like a movie or a TV show.
I guess. I don't know. I didn't see that.
Um, I liked the pool scene when she's like, teach me how to swim. And he's like, okay. First of all, not sure how they weren't like, this is a bad idea. Maybe if we're attracted to each other, maybe we shouldn't do this. But I mean, I guess to each their own. They obviously then had sex, so
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked that scene. That was good. Um, I also didn't like the weird button scene at the end where the kid disappears and you're like, oh my God, she's been stolen. And she's actually just
Yeah.
like on the rooftop with like the sword.
So there's like no third act breakup. It's well, I mean, technically
That
when
was like,
she gets kicked out of the league
yeah.
and
And
she
they
has to go
separate.
home, that's technically like,
The
and
third act
then
breakup, yeah. Like they're separated.
there was like no stakes at the end of it. It wasn't like she got kicked out of the league and then something was gonna happen. It was like he was like dealing with all the diplomat stuff.
And she was just waiting around.
She was waiting around and then um he comes and he just like stays with her and her family for a while and then her niece goes missing. Also, the fact that she never had brought up the fact that
It's her niece and not her own kid.
it's her niece and not her own kid, because he saw the kid and he was like, does she have a fucking baby? And he didn't tell. And then she's like, this is my niece. And he was like, oh, okay. But like, I
Yeah,
feel
that
like that's
wasn't
some
a
information.
question that he
Yeah,
wanted to ask sooner, or by like no one offered that information up sooner. It was weird. You're right. That is weird. Yeah, I thought the scene was very odd. I was like, I'm not quite sure what this scene was supposed to do.
it was
Um,
supposed to apparently kickstart the brother from being like a deadbeat dad. Because then he's suddenly like, oh my God, I remember I had a kid and I love this kid. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, it was a weird scene. I felt like that was unnecessary.
Oh,
Okay,
and then the
what's
mom and the uncle together.
that also didn't need to happen in my opinion. Like I just felt like that was something that didn't need to like come together. They could have been like separately but like friends. I don't know. Okay, what was your rating?
I give this a 3.
I also give this a 3. Um, it wasn't bad. I just like I don't know if I would even continue this series, to be honest.
Nah.
Whether it's like, I don't know, it just felt so knockoff Star Wars, which if that's your thing, then 100% you'll like this book. But I don't know if that was quite my thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, not sure if I am gonna probably not continue actually. Um, would you say the Steam was like a two? One? One and a
I
half?
would say like a 1.
Like they do have sex. It's just like so far down the line because the first 40% is like they haven't even met yet.
Yeah.
Um, would you recommend this?
Probably not. I mean,
This is one of those like asterisks where you'd like it'd be a very specific thing that someone's looking for me to recommend this.
yeah.
Okay, would you reread this?
No.
And yeah, I don't think I'm gonna read the rest of the series or go back. Um, okay. Anything else you'd like to say about this book?
No.
Okay. Do you want to tell us what you're reading real quick?
I'm reading it's the second book of the Divine Rivals series. Ruthless Vows, I think it's called.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like halfway through that. Yeah.
Okay. I am reading Fragile Sanctuary by Catherine Cowles, and I'm only like 8% in, so I can't comment on the book just yet, but it is a very classic Grumpy Sunshine, brother's best friend. So tropes I like. Some hope. I've high hopes. It has good ratings, so I have high hopes. Um, okay. Next month is Canadian month, and we've the first book is by Vivian Arend. So that's really fun. And then we've got quite a mix actually for our Canadian month of like a few different authors that we're going to hit. So we should we do Butcher and Blackbird? Anyway,
Mm,
maybe a side convo for a post this recording. But um okay. Otherwise, I don't have anything else to add. So rate, review, and subscribe. It's really helpful when you do. It helps us get found by other people to have our ratings. If you have a recommendation for us, of course, send it our way. You can send us a DM. I answer all the DMs. Don't forget our podcast discount code for the Modern Romantics Bookshop, which is Sisters Reading Romance, all caps, no spaces. Gets you 10% off everything in the shop. Otherwise, we'll be back in your ears next week.
bye.